Day 11. Day 11. Results of interest. 2022 World Aquatics Championships, the 27th of June, 2022. Monday. And it's open water swimming today. There's also water polo and diving going on, but we have chosen not to write about, or, well, yes, write about, but we did not choose countries of interest in water polo or diving. So if we bring it up, it's kind of under other interest-piquing results, and we do have one in diving today. So we're going to jump in with the logistics. And so this one is going to be relevant to some of the swimming kind of occurrences at this World Championships, and still lingering, and so kind of providing my take on how I feel about disqualifications. So I'm going to start off with, I can recall, so I competed in swimming for over a decade. I can recall 3 occasions when me/my relay was disqualified, one of which was my fault. So the first time was I was at a different pool and there was a tile on the wall. They had just redone the pool or something like that. Or it was a pool, it was like a new pool. It was pretty early on in my swimming career. And I go and touch the wall at the same time with my hands, and one of my hands slips off the wall during the turn, and then I ended up skinning part of my fingers or my toes. It was a really rough wall and there was this really slick area, and it was horrible turn, and I'm bleeding and stuff. And I look when I'm turning, and I see the judge, and I'm like, am I gonna get disqualified because my hand slipped? And the judge was looking the other way. Comes up after the fact, I got disqualified for a non-simultaneous touch. Did the judge, so what was that? That one's technically not my fault. The judge didn't even see the turn, and and the reason they provided was actually wrong. I think, I don't remember. I think I might have actually gotten a place ribbon on that one. It was like a weird disqualification. It was one of those ones where the judges say to a person's face they're disqualified, or to the timers or something, but they might not follow through. And I'll get to how I feel about those kind of ones, because that's happened a number of times where people will say I'm disqualified and then I'm not actually disqualified. But that one was technically not my fault because it's not illegal to slip on a turn. The illegal part for breaststroke, so a swimming breaststroke, is you have to touch the wall with 2 hands, which I did, just one slipped right after touching. So I was like, oh, so so initially I was like, okay, it's because my hand slipped. But no, the person wasn't even looking. Like, I literally saw in breaststroke, you like look up, and it was pretty early on in my swimming career, so like I saw the judge, and the judge was looking over that way, and I was over this way, and I was just like, they didn't even see me. Like, so sometimes, like in the case like that, disqualifications are not very useful because they're not based in reality, they're based in fantasy and things the judge didn't even see. It's like, well, if you're gonna disqualify me because my hand slipped. Like, yeah, I got the scars to prove it. or I got the blood to prove it, because I had skinned my hands and toes on that turn too. But yeah, so some judges are tainted. That's pretty common in American swimming, especially at like, so I think I was like 8 years old, plus or minus a few years, a couple of years. So it was kind of like they, in America, will taint judges and have kind of dirty judges if the person's too fat. And I'll get to that. I wrote a little something on that. And I was too fat in this judge's eyes perspective. So they made up something about my swim that was not consistent with reality at all. We even filmed it. We filmed my races, and we're just kind of like, liars! So don't trust American judges across the board. Some are really good, some are tainted and do stuff like that. Okay, so that was one. Another one, and this one might have happened more than once in both like summer league swimming and high school, if I'm recalling correctly, was I'd be on a relay and another relay member would get disqualified. How did I feel about that? On relays, to avoid getting disqualified, I didn't ever want to like push it on a start, because breaststroke is the second stroke, so I have to do like a swinging start. So I'd have very slow starts. So honestly, I don't mind if we get disqualified as a relay. I can't, I really don't mind. because I'm slow on my starts, so there's people who like might leave a little early, and so it's called a false start or get disqualified because the person left a little early on their start. And I'm like, you know what, considering I'm slow, that kind of that person's taking a risk, and it helps balance out my slower start where, yeah, I'm not this, might not be the one that gets us disqualified. However, I do slow us down. So I don't mind at all on stuff like that. Or if another relay member gets disqualified, I can remember times in swimming where we would literally try to get ourselves disqualified because we were in last place and we didn't want to be in last place. We didn't want to finish in last place. So we would literally try and get disqualified, and it wouldn't happen. So I can say there are times in swimming where I have very much coveted get disqualifications. Okay. And we have tried to get disqualified. Done it. Yeah. And then not. So there's weird stuff like that. And then the third one was the one that was, so that those are the first two. Those ones weren't my fault. The one that was my fault, if I'm recalling correctly, it was at a high school competition at one of my favorite pools. And I go in and I didn't even know it was possible. So there's this thing, and it was breaststroke again. It's going into the wall, and there's the simultaneous touch. You need to touch the wall with two hands, so like tap. It was not that. There's also something in breaststroke called a two-hand touch, which is like two hands, and it has to be at the same time. So it's really a two-part legality thing. So you have to touch the wall with two hands, and the hands have to be at the same time. I did not have so it was not the case of I touched with one hand and then touched with the other, or they were just off. I went into a turn. Again, I didn't even know this was possible. In reflecting on it now, like over a decade later, I still have no idea how I did it. I went in and I completely missed the wall. And I reached as hard as I could, and one of my hands didn't even touch the wall. So I got disqualified for a one-hand touch, and it's supposed to be two. And it was a terrible swim. That's the thing about disqualifications. Was I upset? No, I didn't even know that was possible. Not that I could do that. I still reflect on that, and I've tried afterwards, and like, how did I even do that? And I can't actually figure out how I did that. So one of those things that like it's possible to swim a race 1,000 times or something. That might be an exaggeration, but it's possible to race something a bunch of times and swim it in practice like a bunch of times, and then have something in competition happen that has never happened before. That was my case. I had never done that before, and I couldn't even replicate it after the fact, but it happened during a race, and I was like, well, yeah, I deserved disqualification. So no, am I the kind of person that gets upset with it? No. Am I the kind of person that tries to like be like, can you undisqualify me? No. Like, even in the case where it's not my fault, like, so what? It's just a race. It's just one race, kind of thing. And so, on the flip side of that is there has been this pocket of disqualifications where people, the officials or judges or whatever, will blame me or other swimmers. It happened to other people too, who didn't actually do anything wrong. And then they will blame them or say the person got disqualified and then not follow through. So that's called intimidation or fear tactics. It's a sabotage tactic used for like the people I know who did it, like the officials and judges. Typically they had a swimmer in the water. So they were like tainted American judges / officials, which is really common in America. Not everyone. Some of the people who had swimmers in the water were the best officials ever. So it's super like pendulum swings both ways. Get the best judges and the worst judges, kind of thing from people who have swimmers in the water. And I'm a female, so that's the parents of female swimmers in the water. I don't know about the male so much. We practiced together, but we did not have mixed races. So I spent over a decade of my life practicing with males at practice, kind of thing. All right, how I feel about disqualifications, they do not bother me, in part because I have gotten them even when I did nothing wrong, and the official later told me I was disqualified only because I was too fat for the time, and that while I was fast, I did not have the swimmer look, and hence would never be a true swimmer. This is true. I do not have the stereotypical swimmer look, so I did not ever appeal the disqualifications. I matured and learned to love myself the way I am. The other person and other people's, so the other people, persons, however you want to phrase it, the other people, a lot of officials did this. They would literally tell me I was too ugly for the sport. Never moved on, so these other people never moved on. They were repeat offenders, all of them, and they may even be registered pedophiles / sex offenders now. So these were like really bad. It's kind of, people talk about how calls or like whether or not something is disqualified is like huge in American sport. No, it's tainted officials, and to the point of like them harming athletes, be it just verbal abuse, like, or emotional abuse, like the officials I interacted with. So yeah. This is just a reality check for American sports, and especially American swimming, and more specifically, American female swimming. I will add though, at the end of this, this might just be, from my experience, I have yet to compete in a place with a full set of clean officials. Okay, I have not completed, clean sport is something I have not experienced in the United States of America, on a officials and judges level. Put it simply, the dirtiest people I have met in life are those with spotless track records. I'm not saying everybody who has not been disqualified is a bad person. There are great people who've never been disqualified, but the dirtiest people I've met will have 0 disqualifications. So why don't they bother me? Shows they're doing something right and they're human. If people get disqualified. So that was long logistics of interest. Logistics with topics of interest. Up next, countries of interest results. Open water swimming, 5 kilometer male. Italy won the silver medal and placed 4th, and South Africa placed 28th and 29th. In open water swimming, 5 kilometer female, Italy won the bronze medal and placed 6th. South Africa placed 18th and 29th. Lone penguins of interest results. Not applicable. Medal table ordered: silver at the top, bronze in the middle, gold on the bottom. We have one country in the medal table today, and that is Italy. Italy won 1 silver medal, 1 bronze medal, and 0 gold medals. Who won those medals? Medalists. Gregorio Paltrinieri of Italy, in open water swimming won the 5 kilometer open water swim male silver medal with a time of 52 minutes and 52.7 seconds. And then Giulia Gabbrielleschi of Italia, in open water swimming in the 5 kilometer open water swim female won the bronze medal with a time of 57 minutes and 54.9 seconds. And so that was our sports, countries of interest and sports of interest for the day. What are our other interest-piquing results? We have one from diving. Colombia's been doing really amazing in both pool swimming and artistic swimming at this World Championships, like highest finishes ever. And I have the honor of making 2 Wikipedia pages for two of the people who've done that. So that's cool. And they're also doing well in diving. Sebastián Morales of Colombia placed 18th in the preliminaries of the 3-meter springboard diving event male. So they're also doing really well in diving. So it's the uprising, it's the rise of Colombia. In pool swimming, Brazil's really good. And I'm like, if this trend continues, Colombia just might be, well, it already is, right? It's getting all-time highest finishes. So it's on it. Watch out, the rest of the world. Colombia is here now and rising. I like that. Colombia rising. And so that is day 11 results of interest for the 2022 World Aquatics